Yeah. Girl Talk Tuesday. Tune in, talk it out. Let's go. Girl Talk Tuesday. Tune in, talk it out. Say what's on your mind, let it all come out. Good vibes only, we don't carry no doubt. Real conversations, that's what we about. Girl Talk Tuesday. Tune in, talk it out. Bring your real life, let the truth get loud. Laugh a little, heal a little, that's the route. Girl Talk Tuesday, we rollin' now. Pull up to the channel, got the ladies in the chat. Talking real situations, no filter on that. Love, life, drama, goals, we unpack that. If it's heavy on your heart, we gon' talk right back. Cup in your hand, hair done, more right. Tuesday night glow, got the whole room bright. We don't judge nobody, we just shine more light. You came in stressed, leave feeling alright. Real conversations, everybody got a story. Some came from pain, some came from glory. Some came for advice, some came just to listen. But everybody leaving with a little more wisdom.
Welcome to Girl Talk Tuesday. This is our first episode and I am so excited, you guys. We have some guests in the house tonight, right? So we're gonna start from left to right and you're just gonna say your name. Tell the people who you are.
I am Serena.
Hi, Serena.
No, it's the Queen, Nima.
I am Shandi.
And I'm Shanti.
Yes, we got some queens in the house, you guys. We have some educators up and through here. Everybody's in the education, so we definitely want to talk about education at one point. And then we have a student. We have a student in the house. You guys, I did an introduction of Girls Talk Tuesday a couple of weeks ago, and I just want to tell you my reasoning, my why is sitting right here. Nima is so different from her mother. Now, this is my baby girl. That's Shandi. Shandi was quiet. Nima is not. So Nima asked a lot of questions. She want to know everything, which is good because we want her to ask questions and whatever it is. But I was like, we need to get something because I know that there is not just her, but other girls that would like to have some information because for me, I was misinformed and not informed about a whole lot of things that I wish I was. But we get to show our daughters and others a little differently than we did. So this was mainly birthed out of Nima, my granddaughter. She's 16. She's the queen. Okay. So that's my reason for doing this. But I am so excited to have the ladies here tonight, sisters, and we're hoping to make this even bigger and get more people involved and talk about some things and just talk about life, right? Of just girls, what we go through. So tonight I wanted to talk about the subject. Who God say we are, right? Who God say that we are. Our title tonight is More Than a Label. Who God says we are. And so this basically is like, you know, in our lives, we are labeled certain things and sometimes we're put in boxes. Sometimes our labels is defined by people, even when we're younger. It's like we're defined by our status of our job, whether we're married or single, whether we've been to school and been educated or not. We have so many labels that are that the world put on us. But we want to strip that away tonight and say who God says we are. Like we're chosen, we're redeemed, we're his children. And so regardless of the status that other people put on us, we should know who we are and we should know our worth, right? So we're gonna talk about that, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's get it. So the first thing, let's do an icebreaker here, ladies. Okay, so can you guys tell us of a story or just like something that someone may have put a label on you and you had to fight to get this label off? And I mean, what did you have to do? Like, I can say for myself, I know when I was coming up, it was pretty much, people thought I was more than what I was, right? And so they would say, oh, you bougie, or is she this, and that other. And it wasn't that. And they didn't like me for, for reasoning. It could be friends or so-called friends or family members. And it wasn't that I thought I was better. It's just that I thought I needed more. I wanted more. I wanted to be able to move and take my children to be in another space where they could kind of thrive. And I didn't think where I was, I could do that. So I had to fight for that for a long time. And I feel like I'm still fighting for that. But it doesn't matter now, because now I know whose I am. And because I know whose I am, I'm better. I can better, move. I don't have to worry about the things that people say. So, Shanti, you want to start and tell us? Okay, go right ahead.
So at the age of 17, I was labeled a statistic. Like I was told, like I had someone look at me and say, "You're just going to be another statistic," because I was a teenage mom. And what that meant to them was being in the projects in the Bronx, New York, that I wasn't going to be educated, that I wasn't going to have an actual family, that I wasn't going to step outside of those projects. And then in school, I had a teacher tell me, "I hope you don't plan on going to college because you won't make it."
Oh, wow.
And it was typing. For some reason, I was one of those kids, I would love to see people typing on TV, so I was obsessed with learning how to type, and I just couldn't get it. And she was like, just don't go to college. So I wasn't used to so much negativity being poured into someone, but once I had the belly, the judgment was just there. And I was always very shy and quiet anyway, and so I kind of accepted it. But I was determined. And so when I had my son on my hip walking across the stage, that was one statistic I stopped.
Yes.
When I enrolled in school and I had my son come with me to enroll, that was the other one. When I graduated from college, I made sure he had that cap and gown next to me.
Yes.
And so I ended up obsessing over it. I'm on my 3rd master's degree and a partial doctorate. I went crazy with school.
Yes.
But I was determined, and and then I was top of the class with typing.
Yes.
Like I even got a certificate for it. And then I ended up going into law, and you couldn't even get into a law program unless you could type 70 words per minute.
Yeah.
And the fact that I was typing 80, I just kept thinking about the one person who was like, "I hope you're not planning on doing that."
Yes.
And so I was determined by what people told me I could not do, but more importantly, I wanted my children to know that mistakes are not, like you said, God is a redeemer. And
yes,
so
He is.
We are surrounded by people who would allow our mistakes or our lack of judgment to have that stain who we are.
Yes.
And if anything, it just propelled me to be even greater.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All righty, Miss Ray Shundi, do you have anything?
Well, it's not that great.
It's okay. It's okay.
It can be very, short.
Okay.
Straight to the point
Okay.
Here. This was in middle school. Take it back there.
Yeah.
Me and my cousin, we was always together, and they will always say, "Oh, I'm gonna be the fast one. I'm gonna get pregnant first," and that actually was not the case.
Yeah.
I actually was after her, and she had multiple. So, and I stopped at one because ain't no way.
What I mean?
Just saying, ain't no way. It's hard work,
Yes.
But yeah, I proved them wrong.
Yes, absolutely. Nima, do you have anything? Because I know if you don't have anything, that's okay, but do you have anything?
Wait, that people label me as now?
Yeah.
I would say the one thing is probably a mean girl, which I can be mean at times, okay? I'm not doubting that, okay? But at the same time, I don't really care, so. And I can't really prove them wrong yet. I haven't grown up, so I don't know. But
So do you think you're a mean girl?
at times. But I have to be mean who's mean to me. I have to mean people who's mean to me. But the same people calling me mean be the ones that want to hang around me. So I don't understand. But you know what? I don't care.
Lord. Okay. Serena.
Yeah, I think I have just like a similar upbringing, like Ashanti, just in the sense that I think early on I was just kind of like labeled in the sense of I had some people kind of tell me that I would not be, And so I made it a mission too with myself to prove that I will be, you know. I think one of the biggest things was like I had growing up with a single mom and, you know, and just kind of that struggle. But for me, I had such a supportive family. And so even though I had, you know, those who should have been lifting me up, like, you know, in the school system, they should have been telling me that I can, but instead they were telling me I couldn't. But the thing I had was my family, and my family consistently said, yes, you can, yes, you can. And they supported everything that I did. And so because of that, you know, I did not become a statistic, and I'm still, you know, going strong, and I'm still proving, you know, what I can. And so because of, you know, that, I've kind of made it a mission even with my girls, my youngest ones. And I'm just like, you know, I want them to believe that no matter what anybody says, like, you can and you will, you know. So, and to kind of have that. So
absolutely. I think that's all of you guys' story was really good. Nima still have growing to do. And so this is basically for her so she can understand that even those titles that people give us, that it doesn't define who we are. You know, I want to talk about mistakes that we've made in our lives, that sometimes we don't forgive ourselves and we put labels on ourselves. So what are some of the labels you may have put on yourself because of past mistakes? And of course, I'll go first. So one of my things was when I got married really early. I was a teenager, and I thought that was what I needed to do. I thought that where I came from is like, you go to work, you have kids, you raise your kids, and that's what you do. I didn't see anything outside of that. I didn't know that I could be more than that, because that was what was there. And so the mistake I made was getting married early, and I think I beat myself up for a long time about that. It's like, dang, I should have did it this way. I should have did it this way. And then it took me a while to understand that what happened in my life happened for a reason. And it was for my kids, and to get me to go through those things where I met my husband, you know. And so I had to understand that I am not my mistake. I'm not I don't have to be defined by that, and I don't care about you know, broken family, because I had family members like, oh, you're not gonna be able to find anybody. You got kids, and you know, it was all sorts of things. But God is so good, because I was able to find someone not only that loved me, but loved my children, and was like, you know, we don't have to try for this, because we have these three, and we're gonna raise these three. And so God is so good, you guys, because even when people say it wouldn't happen, He said, yeah, I know the plans that I have for your life. And so I'm just really happy about that. So that was one of mine. Who want to go next? Okay,
I'll share. So one thing that I that's kind of near and dear to my heart, that I feel like I'm just kind of getting past beating myself up, as we like to say. So my mother passed away 2016, if I'm not mistaken, 2014, 2016, excuse me for my dates. But with that being said, one of the things, and it's still something that's sensitive to my heart. So I'm from Connecticut originally, and so living down here in North Carolina, I would always go back home for, you know, like Christmas and, you know, different things like that. And so that particular Christmas, I was down here, and I was just being selfish because I would typically drive, and that's a very long drive. And so that I remember that Christmas, and I told my mom, I said, hey, I was like, I'm not going to come up there for this Christmas. And there was really no reason. I was just, you know, being selfish again because I didn't want to drive. And I said, I'll come up for spring break, as I'm a teacher. And so, you know, it's okay. Well, she passed away that January, and it was so sudden. And it was one of those things where it tore me up, you know, and I really beat myself up, and, you know, I called myself all types of bad daughters and terrible, and, you know, all of this stuff. And it really did something to me because it was so sudden, and I didn't have a chance to ever say goodbye, you know, because she just was taken. And so, but on the flip side, so now fast forward all these years, you know, one thing that it did teach me a deep lesson. And one of those deep lessons is that we cherish the time that we have with those around us, you know? And so even though that happened and it's really hurtful and sad, but, you know, with all my friends and my family that I have, you know, I really do value and cherish. And it taught me, like, tomorrow's not guaranteed. And that's the biggest thing. You know, you don't know. And because it's not guaranteed, you know, I live my life to be like, you know, I'm going to do stuff, and if I want to go on that trip, I'm going to take that trip, and I'm going to spend time and quality time with those around me and those people that I love, because you don't know. You don't know if you will have tomorrow. So yeah, so that was something that it took me a long time to overcome. But, you know, like I said, I learned a lesson, and, you know, I'm kind of trying to change that narrative into a positive, so to speak.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think for me, to put a blanket, because if I talk about mistakes, we're gonna need about like 2 hours. But my biggest mistake is believing what the enemy said about me and not even trying to see who God said I am. And mistakes are, it took me a while to first realize that, number one, perfection is God's business. Like, there's nothing about me that will ever be perfect. And so when I realized that and stopped beating myself up for what I feel like is a shortcoming, that gives the enemy less of a stage in my life to bring all this self-doubt. Because I had no real idea how powerful I was, not just as a woman, because I feel like I'm a warrior woman for no reason. I'm just strong for no reason. The stuff out there, I'm in a supermarket, like, I am woman, hear me roar. It's like it's so ridiculous. But I spent years of being this little mouse and not even using my voice. So now it's like, I can't be around any place and be at a minimum of anything. But that's only because of when you realize, like, who you are in Christ and what he actually died for. Like, when I'm like, okay, I was actually worth dying for. And so just sitting in that reality kind of gave me just a lot more self-confidence that I never had before. Like, I was very insecure. I was very quiet. I didn't think that my words mattered. I didn't have value in anything that I said because I was a very, like, quiet, kind of submissive child. I didn't speak a lot around adults, and I just observed, and I just looked around, and I just knew what I wanted to be better, and I knew the world that I wanted my son to be in, and I knew nothing around it was what I wanted for him. And so I just started taking him and running places to create a new norm, and then throwing him in church and like, look, I need you to get God sooner than I got God. I need you to get this a lot sooner. So it shaped me, but my mistakes were an area where, because I was so filled of shame and guilt, it kept me at this, it kept me a little too quiet. And so, and then it allowed the enemy to be louder than the voice of God in my life. And so that was my biggest mistake, is not even realizing what truly being a king's kid was, and then to understand that my affliction was probably my greatest lessons. Like, I love in the Bible when he says, it was good for me that I was afflicted so I could know the statute of your ways. So not beating yourself up as a young person growing up in this world, to say, no, I actually learned through my mistakes. But with my children, I'm always telling them, you're going to have 2 lessons, a mentor or mistakes. And I'm hoping that you embrace the mentor, but you better learn from those mistakes. We're not going to keep just repeating the same thing over and over and over again. So now I just have I look at mistakes differently. They're not this woe is me, or this damnation, so to speak, or they're not this horrible thing. If you can embrace it in a way of a lesson, and then if you can learn from it, and not just for other people, but for who you are. Because even that Mean Girl title, what I've learned about mean girls is they're mean for a reason. Whether it's defensive, whether it's protection, or whether it's, I've been misunderstood and I don't care enough to correct it. And so there's probably a million different reasons why she's okay with that label. But the reality is, no one gets to say what she said. I'm still thinking about what she said about the very people that say that I'm mean. They want to be around me. So, oh well, who cares? No, you made a mistake and you showed your heart somewhere along the line. So they see who you really are. Everything else is a defense mechanism, right? And so it's just embracing who I am and not apologizing for it, but care enough about the impact that I have on others. That's the way that I've just embraced my mistakes.
I think it's good to realize that those mistakes are, you look at those and you're like, oh, it wasn't so bad for us to go through certain things. And as an adult now, I realize that even with closed doors and things that happen, it's just God's protection all the time. And so I didn't think that at first. I thought, what did I do? You know, because when I was coming up, my grandmother used to, when I got grown, I was like, Grandma, that's just not true. She used to say, if you think something, you've already sinned. And you know, she used to, it was so scary. And I'm like thinking, well, the devil is so busy all the time. So how am I going to not think it? You know, like if someone is being mean to me, I want to be mean back to you. So how am I going to go to hell because I'm thinking this thought? And then as I got older, I was like, no. The act is, the sin is in the act. If I think it, I can rebuke it, right? I don't have to do what I'm thinking, right? So I think it's the lesson in all of it, like the mistakes and the closed doors and all the things is something for us to look back and say, hey, you know, I did that, but I'm gonna do better. Just like, you know, there's different stories in the Bible of where redemption is, you know, where people made mistakes, but then they was disciples. They was, it was redemption for, you know, the lady that was a prostitute in the Bible. Like there is always, and so you look at that and you're like, well, I'm not going to go to hell because I made a mistake. I need to just repent for the things that I've done, and then I need to not do it again. Right? Just try to be as good as I can. And I'm not going to be perfect, but I can start trying to live the best life that I know how to live. So in your life right now, where you are now, if you could say one word that you think of when we're thinking about God and how good he is to us, and what word would you use in your season right now in your life? So like for me, I think mine would be chosen, because I think right now he's putting me in position to be able to talk to people and to do things that I didn't think I would be doing. Like I did not think I would ever do this because I feel like a little timid, but I think Milton brought that out of me to be a little more open and to just reach people. You know, I say all the time that our podcast and the things that we have going on, a lot of people just not going to support it. We understand it because people like to see the drama, and that's not what we bring. And so, right. And I'm not going to do that for views. I know that God would put this in the eyes of the people that need to see it. So for me, I feel like my word is chosen. So what would you say your word would be in this season of your life?
I would say blessed.
Yes.
I think for me personally, this last year in particular, I think I went through a lot of obstacles. I had a lot of situations where I could have gave up, should have gave up for many reasons. However, you know, I persevered and continued on, and now, you know, fast forward probably about a year later, I just feel so blessed because a lot of the things that I wanted to give up on, it's funny, I can laugh. You know that we always say that, we're like, you know, when you go through your hard times and you'll laugh about it, but you're like, I don't think I will. Yeah. You know. And so
you're gonna laugh about it later on in your life. Yeah.
But I can laugh about some of these things that, you know, when I just think about last summer, and it was just like, you know, what's that saying when you go 5 steps forward, 10 steps back? Yeah. I mean, we got
it's
hit.
A season.
Oh, we were going through a season, boy. Oh, it was. We were getting hit left and right. Yeah. But when I look now and I think about just everything that we overcame as a family, and just right now in the position I am today in the present moment, I just think of blessed because, I could have gave up, but I didn't. So blessed.
Absolutely. What were you saying your season?
What's your word?
That you're in right now? What do you think? What would be your one word that you would think? And you can use the word we use too. If that you feel blessed, then that's It's okay.
I'm gonna steal Serena's word
Okay.
and say blessed because because with certain RMI, so I do cheer, right? So one of my coaches was just saying that we should be very grateful, even during trials and stuff, because some people aren't able to do stuff they love because medical or whatever. So she was just saying that we should be very grateful to that we're able to run, be able to, even though we don't like it, but still be grateful to be able to do it.
Absolutely.
And I say I'm blessed for say family reasons, friends reasons, or people I surround myself around.
Yeah.
Because some people a little fake out here. So
Yeah.
but yeah. You're right, Sean.
Oh my gosh. My word will be faithful. He's truly been faithful to me. When it comes to jobs or getting this doctorate degree, it has been a struggle. It has been a struggle because it's been times where I wanted to give up because it's just been too much work.
Right.
From the workload of a teacher to a child to getting this degree. It's just been a lot. So he's truly been faithful, just helping me persevere, keep going even when it gets hard.
Yeah.
So that would be my word.
Yes,
How far are you in your doctorate?
I graduate next year in September. She graduated with me.
Yeah, so you're in the dissertation state, doing all the work. Oh,
Yep, I'm in chapter 2
congratulations!
right now.
We can stop right there and just celebrate. That's a lot of work. My word, as you should, you doing the part? Okay. My word, I don't even know that. I just know it's applicable. That's my word. This has been the time of application for me. Everything that I've learned, that I've studied, God is now it's time to apply. There's no more talking at this stage in my life, it's doing. And I feel like I'm a professional student, but it's not even just my career. It is I'm a minister. So, but it's not even as a child of God. I study the Bible every year. I do a 1-year Bible every year. And God tells me what my focal point is. And last year it was to study him. And this year he said, now it's to apply him.
Amen.
And so I am in a year of application.
Yeah.
And that
is so good.
And that is
so good. So
hard.
speaking of that, so just
Hard.
talking about that and you as a minister, I should have mentioned that. She's a minister. So can you share what the Bible says about us as far as I've loved the book of Ephesians but can you share what does it say about us as his children? And
that's what I when I saw the topic, I ran to Ephesians. I love so
Ephesians.
Excited. So I actually have it real quick.
Thank you.
And so what I love about it is and I actually put chosen and loved because that's exactly what it says. So Ephesians 1:4-7, it says, just as he chose us in him before the foundations of the world. So you were pre-planned. So all of this, I am a mistake, or when we have children outside of wedlock, we just have all of this mistaken things. Even though there's sin in our actions, what we give birth to is never outside of the will. There's no mistake in that. There's no mistake in life.
That's right.
And so I love that for me as a mom and for my son to know that he is absolutely a part of God's plan.
Yes.
Whether I was married when I had him or not.
Absolutely.
That's just important for me as a person.
Yes.
But anyway, just as he chose us in him before the foundations of the world, that we should be holy and without blame before him, having predestined. So again, I'm planned. I just love that because of the doubt we have in ourselves. Having predestined us to adoption as sons, and I'm gonna say and daughters, by Jesus Christ to himself. What I love about the word adoption is, we don't choose who we give birth to, but we choose who we adopt. So there's so much intentionality of God claiming us that I completely love that when we want to have validation from man or from a relationship or from even our children or from our friends, that we really do seek validation from people. We want to be invited. We want to be welcomed. But we, like, God is like I'm here. Like I chose you from way before you were even a thought. And that allows us to not be so vulnerable to people around us when we realize that, you know, we are just chosen, you know, that we're his. And then the last part to that, the holy part is real important, but I don't want to start preaching to everybody and make them leave. But I think that a lot of us we ignore the holy part because that's the expectation on us, right? Like, yes, I am his. Think about your household. Yes, you're my child, but I have standards for you. I have an expectation. I need you to do what I'm telling you to do. Yeah. And outside of that, these rules are for your protection. They're not to control you. Right. They're not. So we want to skip over the holy part and then get upset about the results of the unholy part. Yeah. So I had to keep reminding myself that me saying I'm his, that means I'm required to be holy. You are. And so, but the other part to that too, I'm a masterpiece. So Ephesians 2:10, for we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand. So again, predestined, that we should walk by him. So just knowing that I'm just a planned piece of his entire picture for humanity, I just think it's amazing that we understand who we are.
Yes. Amen. We need to. I love that. Yeah, y'all can give it up. Y'all I love that. And it's very important to know who you are. And I felt that this would be a good first episode, because if you don't know who you are, you're going to allow a lot of things to come in and out of your life that you don't even have to go through those doors. But it's like, it's a lot of social media and things that's going on, because a lot of killing of young people and relationships and all that is because they don't know who they are and they don't love themselves. And we have to let them know that, you know, one of the other titles, well, I was fatherless. Like, my father lived in the same city, but he was nowhere in the area for me. He didn't want to be, you know, a dad. He didn't want to be that. And when I realized later on in life that I have a father that loves me unconditionally and that looks out for me and protects me. And when I learned at church one Sunday, it's like, don't be upset about your father not being there, because God, it was crazy, because that message was like, God needed a vessel to get you here. And he was that vessel. Yeah. And I was just like, oh my God, I get it now. And when he passed away, I was there, and I asked my mom, I was like, was he there when I was born? Because I had no relationship with him in between that. And she said, I was born at home. So she said, he came, he held me. He was there when I was born, and he walked out, and she said, he never came back. He never was there. And so I never had a relationship with him. But when he passed, they called me, and I went there. And it was crazy, because I'm sitting there looking at this person that I'm like, I don't even know him. He's a stranger. I don't know anything about him. And I looked and I said, oh, God is so good, because he was there when I came, and I was there when he left. And it was just like that moment, like, God, I see you, I hear you. I know this is what this was for. It was closing the chapter of that. So those are things that I feel like I wanted Girl Talk to be about, like discussions like this, or the more to come about life. And sometimes we beat ourselves up about things, and and we don't have to do that. We have someone who died for everything that we talked about tonight. Someone who died for our sins, and he took it so that we wouldn't have to. And so some of the things that we go through, we don't really have to go through it. We just need to look at him. Just put our eyes on him. And so this is what Girl Talk is about. And I'm so glad you guys are here. I'm so glad you guys are here for our first episode of Girl Talk Tuesday. Did anybody want to say anything else before we kind of wrap this thing up?
To piggyback on what you said, I think also something that's important with Girl Talk is sometimes when you are among like minds, you know, so whether those are sitting here in this room or those who are viewing, sometimes we think that we are single-handedly are going through a lot of trials and tribulations alone, or we think our story, our narrative is so unique, and then sometimes we start to share in and you're like, oh, they went through that too, or, you know, and you start to see like other people, you know, we're living the same life, we're living the same story, and so sometimes that kind of helps, and you can see like, okay, well, if this person, they started here and they were able to get through, you know, maybe I could do the same. So that's why when I'm looking, you know, like even when you shared some of yours, and I was like, oh, instantly, I was like, I can relate, or even your story with, you know, your father, you know, me having fatherless, you know, so, you know, you can relate to some things, and you just kind of see you're not navigating this life alone, and like you said, but when we look at our father, you know, up there, you know, who's guiding, that's the most important part of it. So that's what I think of when growth. That's how it, you know, it's important for me.
I think we need to change the narrative of what our girls see on TV. There's enough out there that is degrading women, that is painting this picture of what being a woman is. I think raising a standard of the examples that we put before our daughters, even before our mothers. I got a young mom. My mom, I'm telling you, I'm raising my mom. I promise I am. But I love the example that, you know, I want her to be proud of who her daughter is, right? I want my daughter to look up to me and be proud of who her mom is. And I need my mom to look down to be proud of who her daughter is. And when I see the things that my girls are exposed to, whether on their phones or in school or just on TV, period, the things they choose to look at, that's not who I need them aspiring to be. So when you have more platforms like this where women are not only uplifting each other and being very vulnerable, because that's the enemy really wants us to be quiet about what we've been through. You know, there's so many people out there that think that they are the only ones that are doing, or that their world is just so, that there's no hope, there's no anything. And I feel like our testimony is really powerful to show how you can literally pull people out of the pit of hell just by being evidence of what you've been pulled out of. So I'm not quiet about the things that I go through. And maybe I sometimes can be a little too open about the stuff I go through, but it is important because you are reaching so many other people who are silently going through that. But this to me is just going to be a great platform of another standard of women just being women.
Just being women.
This has just been beautiful, you guys. And when God brought this to me, I was laying in my bed, and I think I said this on the introduction, that I was like, girl talk. And I kept saying, girl talk. You know, like, no, I'm already doing something. And it was like, no, you should do girl talk. And I'm like, I pushed it off. And then the next time it came to me, it came with a day. And I said, no, I really don't want to do this or whatnot. And then the third time it came to me, I was getting ready to take my shower, and it said Girl Talk Tuesday, and I was like, okay, I am going to do Girl Talk Tuesday. And so I'm very excited about this, and I'm excited about the next episode and what we're going to talk about and all the things. And if you would be so kind to share this video with women or your sisters who you think need this, because we all have been through some things, and we're gonna dive deeper. My granddaughter wanted to talk about some stuff, and I said, wait, let's not do that on the first one. We don't want it on the first one, but we definitely gonna dive deep into conversations, so that I don't want your daughter, my granddaughters to learn about certain things from their peers and on the street like we did. I learned things from my friends that was not good. It was like, girl, that was wrong. Yeah. So I don't want her to learn. I want to be able to tell her and talk to others, talk to you about things that are
that are important and the way that God tells us that he wants us to do things. I have a coworker, she's 20, she'll be 21, and she's always asking me, what would you say to your 20, what kind of advice would you give me? And I'm always saying, please do it, Bible. Please. If you're not in if you don't have one, let me give you one. Listen, let's do this differently. Yes. We got to do it differently. We got to change the narrative of us, just how the world sees us, the labels that the world put on us. We are his. We are who God say we are, not who they say we are, right? So, okay, you guys, thank you guys for tuning in to Girl Talk Tuesday, first episode. Don't forget to you guys? Like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. And we will see you back here on next Tuesday with another episode of Girl Talk Tuesday. Later.
Girl Talk Tuesday. Tune in, talk it out. Let's go. Girl Talk Tuesday. Tune in, talk it out. Say what's on your mind, let it all come out. Good vibes only, we don't carry no doubt. Real conversations, that's what we about.